Talking to you. How are you feeling today having to watch everything back this morning?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm full of a lot of joy, a lot of pride, a lot of emotions, but good emotions, and it's been a really cool journey, and I'm really satisfied with how it started and how it ended.
Now, you made several comments during the series that you're really proud of the bonds that you established and the connections you made with people. What do you think happened at Tribal Council? Because not everybody came through for you, unfortunately.
I just think that I hit a wall, and I was talking days in advance about this round. Like I was in my confessionals, I was obsessively saying like 9 is my bottleneck. And if I get through 9, I will have multiple clear paths to go win the game, but it will be the hardest round for me to get through. So like for through round like 12, 11, 10, all I was thinking about was round 9 because I knew that's where it was going to, go down. That was my Super Bowl pretty much. And I knew it was going to be tough and it ended up not going my way. But like Caroline flipped on me, Kyle flipped on me as my Tuku people, but they had every reason to. And if I was them, I would have flipped on me too. It was a good move for them to make. So I wasn't particularly surprised by it. Obviously, it just sucks when your game ends. Nobody likes to lose. Nobody likes for your experience to have to come to an end.
Right.
But yeah, like I was anticipating this was probably going to happen, and I commend all of them for making the move, the best move in the game for everybody at that point.
You wish you would have had your shot in the dark?
No, I never would have played it. The only way I'd play my shot in the dark is if everybody came to me and like eulogized me and said, "You are going home tonight, no matter what. It will be you tonight." Um, and for that, I always want to have my vote. There's never any scenario if I think there's even a 1% chance that I can swing the votes to where I need them to go. I want my vote to be cast. And God forbid, in a worst case scenario, I play my shot in the dark, it doesn't hit, and I go home by 1 vote. And so there is pretty much no situation where I would want to play my shot in the dark and have to sacrifice my vote.
Now, we watched it all play out. Was it surprising? Well, give us some details about why everybody was so willing to give up their shot in the dark. And were you purposely pushing to take out to move ahead and take out the people you want to take out by getting rid of that?
Well, I think everybody was on board because we were hungry, man. Like it was a big bag of rice, and we were hungry. Um, and so I think that honestly, like it's simple and it's not exciting, but I do think that is the main answer from the group consensus is that like everybody was just starving, and I just think the shot in the dark is something that you can only play it up until round 7, I think. So we only had like 2 or 3 more tribals where we were even eligible to play it,
Right.
and that rice was going to last us till the end of the game. And from a personal perspective, like, yes, I was very hungry, but also I thought, if I don't have my shot in the dark, at least nobody else is going to have it either. And it was just one less thing that my targets could use to squirm out of getting out of the game. And so, like, it wasn't valuable to me.
Right.
And if I could take it away from the people that it was valuable to, that only helped my game.
Now, you've been able to sit back and watch everything that was going on behind your back. Are you surprised that your name was thrown out as much as it was?
No, not even a little bit. No. I mean, like I said, like this was the round for me to go home. It was always this round. And fortunately and unfortunately for me, season 47, top to bottom, first boot to winner, are all just straight up battlers, straight ballers, man, game players. And maybe on another season, people would have been blind to just how dangerous it was to let me survive this round, but not on 47. They're too good at the game. They have too good of a picture of what the future holds in this game. And that's really what it came down to. I was like, no, these are all really good players who know what they need to do tonight, and that's get me out of the game. So I wasn't surprised to see my name thrown out at all. Not on the show and not when I was there on the island.
Now, looking back, you at this, near the first phase of the game, you did use an idol. You did play it on yourself. Do you regret that? Explain the circumstances you're thinking about playing that idol so early.
Yeah, so there were a few reasons for it. It was I always knew that idol was not making it to the merge. Like there was
Right.
no chance. But a if Tiana didn't flip, me, Caroline, and Sue, we like those votes were going to TK. So the worst case scenario of that night was the most reasonable worst case scenario that night was Tiana doesn't flip and we have a tie and we have to revote. And if
Right.
I play my idol, I'm safe from rocks. So then I can really put the pressure on Tiana on the revote to say, look, one less person is drawing a rock tonight. You just went from a 1 in 4 chance of going home to a 1 in 3 chance of going home. And if that's not enough to get you to flip, then best of luck. But I'm going to be here tomorrow, and your chances of going home just skyrocketed because I played this idol. And then a lot of people say, well, why didn't you play it for Sue? Well, if you listen to TK's exit press, if you listen to Tiana's exit press, we had that relationship so on lock and so in the shadows. Nobody knew that we were close. And if I played that idol for Sue, yeah, we don't have to deal with going to a revote or anything, which I didn't think was that dangerous of a situation because I was safe. But also, that's just something tangible in the game that people can reference and use when trying to clock other alliances. And people can say, well, Gabe played an idol for Sue, and it's just a thing that people can say to influence other people's voting habits. And I thought, why even introduce that to this relationship that we're doing a really good job of keeping under wraps? So I didn't want folks to know that. And then also, like, it's day 4. It's day 4, and you don't know how people are going to vote or what people are being honest about until they put pen to parchment. And it was really important to me to get a free pass to see where everybody stood. Even if everybody was lying to me and they all wrote my name down, or they all voted for Kyle, or they all voted for Caroline, or something wacky that I didn't see coming, like,
Right.
I would then at least know that everybody was playing, that everyone was playing me, and I could adjust accordingly. But I needed that free pass to guarantee myself that knowledge.
Now, except for last night, obviously they were kind of forced or pulled into that vote, but your allies were really, really loyal and close to you. We saw a lot of you and Sue back and forth, but we didn't see much of you and Carolyn.
Yeah.
How did that relationship develop, and tell us a bit about that? Because obviously we didn't see much of that.
Yeah, and I get why.
Right.
Tuku never went to tribal. We went to tribal one time, and it was to vote out TK, who like had a big blow up in the game that saw him go home.
Right.
So I understand why that wasn't shown, but selfishly, I wish it was because I think the way me and Caroline's story was told was, Caroline doesn't trust Gabe. Gabe shows Caroline the idol. Now they trust each other for the rest of the game. And really, like, even after I showed Caroline the idol, she was like, okay, like, you did that, but I still really don't trust you that much. Like, even though you did that. And what it really took was us having these like hours and hours long conversations at night, just throwing strategy back and forth and just like dumping like all of our thoughts on the game, like both like big picture and just the philosophy of Survivor and how it pertained to our game and what we thought of all the people in our tribe and how we wanted to use them and how we wanted to navigate the merge. Like, even things that never came to fruition, just like these ideas that we would just have and just throw back and forth. And like, that's where me and Caroline's bond really got established. And there was nobody else on Tuku that we could really have those conversations with. And like, I mean this in a respectful way, but
Right.
like, nobody else on the tribe was thinking about the game like that deeply. And so we would try and have those conversations with the people, and they would kind of stall out at this very surface level. But when me and Caroline found each other, like, we were like, oh, like, we can go deep here. And so strategically, we were each other's rock on Tuku, which was a very tough place to be. We both felt like we didn't really fit in with a lot of folks there, except for each other and Sue. But also emotionally, we were each other's rock out there. And when things got tough, like, Caroline came to me and came to Sue. And when things got rough for me, like, the first person I went to was Caroline, and and then I would go to Sue. And so a lot of what we did to get close with each other wasn't really, like, big moves that happened or moments that shifted the game. It was just these conversations we would have that made us really comfortable with each other. And like, we kind of knew when we were being honest with each other and when we weren't.
Now, I asked this of all the survivors I've ever spoken to, because again, we only get a glimpse, a small window of your journey. Is there anything about your time on the island, whether it was a moment with somebody, whether it was a strategic play, is there anything that you wish fans would have been able to see?
So obviously all the Caroline stuff that I just said, I
Right.
wish was there. There was this one moment. This is more of like a funny moment,
Right.
but Andy, being the klutz that he is, had this day where he was chopping a coconut. He was holding the coconut in his hand and then
Wow.
chopping it with the machete. And he's on the ground with like his feet spread out, just like doing this. And Sue's sitting on like our shelter bench or whatever, and she's all Rambo'd out. She's got her hoodie on and her black vest on top, and like her hair tied back with her buff. And she's just going, Andy, you're gonna cut your hand open. Stop it. And Andy's like, no, I got it. I'm good. I'm good. Andy, stop it. I'm gonna tell your mother about this. Like, stop it. And I'm just standing between both of them, just like dying laughing at this whole thing going down. And they're both so serious. And Andy's like, I got it. I got it. Andy, cut it out right now. Like, it was just this like mom and son moment. And I was, oh, I was just sitting there. I was like, I don't want to say anything because I don't want this to end, you know? And it was so funny. And it was just like this moment that, didn't have any impact on the game, but it was just so funny. And I wish folks got to see that so they could really grasp the moment that I'm talking about.
Now, just have a few more questions for here, but now you're a member of the jury. You got a very important decision to make. When you were, obviously, you can't tell us who you voted for,
Yeah.
but as you were debating this back and forth about, what aspects of the game or what things were you thinking of or debating when you were deciding this is the type of person or player that I'm going to pick to win?
I needed the person whoever won
Right,
to be cognizant of their game and to
right,
have a good understanding of why they were at the end, how they got to the end, and to own it. And to not just own it, but value it and
right.
stand by it. So I would say that without getting too deep into spoiler territory, that
Yeah,
was one of the very big things I was looking at is like be aware of your game, own it, and like even if you don't value it, like tell us why it should be valued. And I feel like a lot of people get to the end and they are either, totally unaware of like why they're at the end, or they don't take pride in their game
yeah.
and they're like, well, I did this and I'm so sorry about all these things that I did to you and that I did to everybody. And I'm just this terrible person. I'm a piece of crap. But if you want to vote for me, it would really mean a lot. And it's
Yeah,
like, no, like you're at the end, puff your chest out a little bit and be like, I did that.
yeah.
And, it wasn't personal. It was game. And if you felt it was personal, I apologize. But yeah, I did that. I deserve to be here. And here's why you should vote for me. So for the things I can talk about, that was one of the big
Right.
things I was looking for.
Now, it was great talking to you today. You did mention, though, that you would love to come back. You even said it leaving tribal council. Is that still a thing with you? Would you love to come back and play again?
I'll be back. I got unfinished business. I got unfinished business, my man. I'll be back.
A redemption story, maybe. Who knows? Well, Gabe, it was wonderful talking to you. It was awesome watching you this season. You're definitely one of the people that elevated the gameplay. I really appreciate it. But all the best to you in the future. And like I said, maybe your survivor journey isn't over just yet.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Take care, Gabe.